In this video, we're talking about the division of surds, and a big takeaway, one of two, is that we want to rewrite our integer denominators so that they do not contain surds. So if you were to get a fraction that looks like this, we would want to rewrite this so that this is not in the denominator. Why? Because it's ugly. Okay, that's why. Square root of 7. All right, we don't want to write that in the numerator. We could have it in the denominator, we can have it in the numerator, but not in the denominator. All right, so how do we do that? All right, well, what we can do here is we can get really creative. Let's look at A. So if I want to express with an integer denominator, that means I don't want the surd in the denominator. So what I do is 7 over root 3. And root 3. And what I can do here is, you know that anything times 1 is just itself, right? Well, what if I said, okay, well, I know that 1 is actually, another way I can write 1 is square root of 3 over square root of 3, right? Because anything divided by itself is just equal to 1. So what I can do is I can say, okay, 7 times the square root of 3, 7 divided by the square root of 3 times root 3 over root 3 is equal to, well, now watch what happens. And we know that this times this gives me 3. So now I've just rewritten this expression. Same value, right? These values are the same. So let me make that point very clear. These values are the same. This is the same value. You can check this in your calculator. It's the same value, but we want this. Let's look at C. C looks a little different. So again, I want to write it with an integer denominator. So I'm going to multiply it now by 1. And remember, 1, well, I'm just going to take whatever that root is and just write it over and just write it as 1. Square root of 2 times square root of 2. And you'll see the reason that we do that is because these two are always going to multiply to give you some whole number. So 10 square root of 2 over, and then this is 2 times the square root of 2. So you're going to have 2 times 2. So you have 10 times the square root of 2 over 4. And 10 over 4 can simplify to do 5 root 2 over 2. Oops. So here's your final answer. Now again, this is equal to 10 root 2 over 2. Right? Same value, but we want it without the integer. So the point is here is that you can multiply. What you're doing, you're just multiplying it by 1. But the way we're going to write 1 is by writing it as as 1 basically of a fraction of the root in the denominator. Okay. All right. Next. So let's say the denominator has the form a plus root b. Okay, so it's some number plus some surd. And we can still remove the surd from the denominator. And we do that by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by its radical conjugate. And the radical conjugate is a minus root b. Compare a plus root b to a minus root b. We call that the radical conjugate. And we call this process rationalization. Why do we call it rationalization? Because your surds in the denominator are irrational. And so by doing this radical conjugation, by doing rationalization, we're trying to make it rational. All right? Okay. So let's look at an example here. Example 28, 1 over 3 plus root 2 with integer denominator. So what I'm going to do, I know that my denominator is written in this form, so the radical conjugate would be 3 minus root 2. Notice that I'm multiplying what I'm really doing is I'm just multiplying by 1, right? Because this divided by this, anything divided by itself is just equal to 1. And now I'm going to multiply these out. So my numerator just is 3 minus square root of 2. My denominator here, well, know your difference of squares, guys. So this is 3, this is 3 plus root 2 times 3 minus root 2. All right, and I'm not going to do, it was in the previous video, but this is a difference of squares, right? Because it's 3 plus root 2 times 3 minus root 2. So what I can do is I know how difference of squares work. I just multiply the first terms, 3 squared, and then I can multiply the second terms, minus, it's always a minus here, square root of 2 squared, that's 9. Sorry, I'm going to get that right there, minus 2 equal to 7. So this is equal to 3 minus root 2 over 7. We have now removed that root 2 from the denominator. Still the same value, just written differently. That's it for this video.